Better.
Everyone, we're going to call this meeting to order now. This is a meeting of the American Rescue Plan Act, otherwise known as the Arpa Commission for Wellington. It is May 24th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. And this is a special meeting. It is a public hearing for some of the requests that we've had for funding. And the first order on the agenda is roll call, which I just looked through. We have everyone here except for Mike D'Amato and Samantha Hills. So we have Erica, Troy, Donna, Robin, Stu Cobb, Stuart Fisher, Jenny, Tom Smith, and myself, which is 9 people, which is definitely a quorum. So we can proceed with the third item, which is our public hearing. And we've tried to streamline this to just the items that have already been discussed at the Arpa Commission and already have actual pricing assigned to it and are kind of projects that are ready to go if approved. And we, I think, have people here to talk about each of these items. So I think we'll just go in the order that they are, which is numeric order, which is the order that they were submitted in over the last couple of months. The first one's ARPA 13, devices for town staff and the senior center. And I think Erica.
Yep, I can speak to that. So this project consists of 3 different components. One is a wireless refresh for here in the town office building. It allows for additional access points, the hardware for that, and wiring and cable costs. The second part is a refresh to the network closet downstairs that would replace some of the cablings, components of the mounted box inside. And the third component is actual hardware costs and labor for new devices for town office staff. And that would provide, and this is not all staff, some have newer devices that already meet the model we're looking to go to. So it would move from a desktop version of computers to a laptop with a docking station, would be their computer here in the building. If there were ever a need to work remote or from home due to something like COVID, they would be able to take their device and work from home, be able to attend a meeting if necessary outside of the building. In the event we had weather-related issues in the past, we had to relocate staff to Hall School, to the shelter, to work at different times, weather-related. This would allow that to happen on a much easier basis. They would just remove their laptop and be able to take it anywhere they could get internet access. So what we had asked for were based on original quotes, which was $38,460.30. Excuse me.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Erica about this project? Does anyone from the public have any questions or comments or things they'd like to say about this project? And I guess if you're on camera, you can raise your hand. If you're off camera, you can use the little button to raise your hand, the little virtual hand. But I don't see any. Oh, Mr. Mulkey.
Do you have a list of what you're going over from agenda or something? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
How do you raise a virtual hand?
Someone.
Just if you hit the video button and you can just raise your hand, but there's some, I don't know where it is. I'm not familiar with that.
Right. Well, if we don't have any more, did he just join?
No, I think he wanted to have. Did you want to ask a question?
Marilyn?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, that one's pretty straightforward. I think we'll move on then to ARPA 21, which is the fuel bank and household heating expenses for, and this one's sponsored by Wellington Human Services, and it is for $25,000. And I think Jenny's here to talk about that.
Yes, I am. In previous meetings, we've discussed how the fuel bank is really used a lot. The economic impact of COVID has been felt very, very deeply. And we discussed how putting aside some funds from ARPA for the assistance of home heating, oil delivery, and even perhaps repairs of certain devices would be a really good way of distributing some of the funding to our residents in need. So basically, I'm here to speak to that and answer any questions.
Does anyone from the commission have any questions for Jenny about this?
I do, and I think it's probably just more clarification. If my memory serves, we had discussed that we initially, the request had been to kind of augment that fund. And then in discussions, did we not move to actually funding out of this ARPA funds? Versus that what we determined? Okay.
That was my recollection, yes.
Yeah, so basically the process would be the same in the beginning phases where Jenny would get an application.
Mhm.
And then instead of bringing it to the finance office and having it come out of her fund to fund it, it would come out of the ARPA fund, up to 25,000, and over the next 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
And Jenny, did you still see using the same criteria and the same dollar amounts, or the ability to provide additional dollars, or is your hope to provide the same amount of assistance to a larger number of folks?
My hope is to be able to provide more, by which I mean more dollars. 100 gallons of fuel doesn't go very far, so it's my intention to try and offer more to families. However, if the need is so great, which I don't foresee, but if the need is so great that I can't do so, then I'll have to augment what I'm offering with other programs.
I absolutely think that that's a great goal. I'm just concerned with the cost of heating oil currently, that could get really difficult really fast. 100 gallons of oil is going to cost somewhere around $600 with the price right now. So I think what your goal in mind is being hindered by rising fuel costs. So hopefully by winter time, that can be something that can be gotten under control. Out of our
I
hands.
hope so. Yes, at this point, that's the standard for the fuel bank is 100 gallons. So, I mean, to be able to offer even twice that would be just such a blessing to so many families.
You know, even as much as 5 months ago, 200 gallons would get you, you know, $600 would get you what you'll get for the minimum now. So let's hope that we see some change there so we can help more folks. Thank you.
any other comments from commission members or questions? Okay, moving on to the public then. Anyone from the public have any questions or comments about this particular request? No?
No.
Okay, all right, then I think we can move on. The next item is ARPA 23 Summer Camp Supplement, which is a joint submission from Wellington Human Services and the Wellington Parks and Rec Commission. So, Jenny, I think you and maybe Stuart can talk to this one.
John's
Yes,
not there?
I'd be happy.
Thank you, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say that I'm happy to speak to this. So this is something that Alan and I have been working
Yeah.
on, and we really think that it's a, can you hear me? Okay. Really just think it's a good way to help to revive the summer camp program, and also keeping in mind the fact that the economic impacts of COVID have hit the community. So what we were planning on doing, and I believe we've spelled this out in previous meetings, is to supplement camp. Let me get my form here. At certain increments. So for instance, the first year, which would be this year, 2022, the ARPA funds would cover 100% of the expenses for putting on summer camp. In 2023, it would be 50%, and then 2024 would be 25%, and thereafter the camp program should be self-sustaining once again.
And you do have a detailed plan for this that we've already talked about, and it ends up coming up to $36,000 is the total for this particular request. And,
Yes, that's correct. 36,238 is my number.
okay. Does anyone from the commission have any questions about this one?
Jenny, do you know how many kids you have currently enrolled in camp? I know
I don't have, yes, I don't have that number off the top of my head. However, in more frequent years, more often than not, it's last minute applications. I know that last year, by the drop down, the drop dead date to pre-register, there were under 10 people. So I think a lot of families unfortunately wait till the last minute. I'm not really sure if that's because, you know, this is a busy time of year for everybody or what, but I do know that whatever number it is that we currently have it's not going to be the final number.
And I think last time we talked about this, that you had some concern about people who might register for camp, but then not come because they didn't pay for it. So have you guys worked out a way to get a commitment from people?
Yes, we've developed a pretty in-depth camp policy based around camp being subsidized this year, which I'd be happy to forward to you at a later date.
Can you share details with us now?
Absolutely. So basically what we'll do is request, along with the registration form and medical forms, a refundable deposit of $50 per child. And that would carry over from week to week. So for instance, if somebody wants to do all 6 weeks, then at the end of the 6 weeks, they'd get their $50 deposit back. And we also would have a minimum attendance requirement of 3 days per week to hold your slot. Now, if somebody, let's say they blew off one whole week and then wanted to come back, then they'd once again have to pay the $50 refundable deposit, which of course would be refunded if attendance minimum was met.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the commission? Okay. Oh, Robin has her hand up.
I just wanted to say that I think this is a great idea, so I'm in full support of it.
Thank you, Robin.
Anyone else? Okay, anyone from the public have any questions or comments about this particular request? I think, Marilyn, does she have her hand?
Oh, no,
Or is
that's the mouse.
The mouse was on you. All right, I don't see anyone waving or raising their little virtual hand. I think with that, we can move on to the next one, which is the ARPA 26, the forestry plan for Mason Road tract in the amount of, I'll tell you in a second, $2,800. And I think I saw Kathy. Yep, there she is. Kathy, do you want to talk about this request?
Sure. I'm Kathy Demers from the Conservation Commission, and our commission is requesting the funding so that we can have a professional forester develop a 10-year forestry and wildlife management plan for the town-owned open space on Mason Road, which includes the Royal Milton Preserve, the Daniel Talmadge Tract, and also the anticipated acquisition of the adjacent Talmadge Estate property. And so the total acreage for the plan would be 182 acres. We currently have a 10-year management plan in place, but that expires at the end of this year. And we feel it's important to continue to have a 10-year plan because it provides us with professional guidance as to how to maintain the forest's overall health, the wildlife habitat, how to manage invasive plants and insect species, as well as developing and managing any of our trail systems. And this ensures that the property and the trails will continue to be a viable resource for the passive public recreation, which includes things like hiking, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and wildlife watching. And we think that this is an appropriate ARPA request because our open space and trails are used by people who are seeking, especially during the pandemic, to have safe, socially distanced spaces for physical recreation as well as mental relaxation.
Great, thank you, Kathy. Any questions or comments from the commission members? Okay, any questions or comments from the public? Anyone from the public have something they'd like to say about this request? I don't see any. Oh, Dave Schreiber. Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
We are. Okay,
There you
I
go.
think it's a great idea that we keep these parks in good shape as we can, and it takes money.
I'd just like to add personally that through the pandemic, I did a lot of hiking, and there were a lot more people out there. I do think that this is a great use of it because it was one of the only things that we could do. And the trails also saw a lot of wear and tear, I think. So I think that's part of this as well. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so I guess we can move on to ARPA 27, which is building materials for park structure maintenance. This is another Conservation Commission request. Kathy, do you want to do something?
So kind of following forward on some of those other comments, especially during the pandemic, our trail system saw increased public use. And we have done a recent inventory looking at all the bridges and boardwalks in all of the trail systems. And we've anticipated that in the next 4 years, we'll have to replace most of those bridges. So we would like to ask for $3,500 from the ARPA funds to go forward to plan on repairing and replacing some of those bridges and boardwalks over the next 4 years. And this is basically to supplement. We get a very limited annual budget of $1,500 that we use for a variety of things for the Conservation Commission, including the park maintenance. And so we'd like to ask for this funding so that it will supplement what we normally get so that we can continue to keep those structures in good repair for the public.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission members? Any questions or comments from the public? Anyone have anything to say? No. Okay, we can move on to the next one, which is, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Which is ARPA 28, technology upgrades at the senior center. And this is, it was Ed Degata who made this request, and I don't know if I heard from him that he could make it tonight.
I think he sent in a request to have a table because he couldn't be here tonight.
Oh, okay. Then, thank you. So, okay, so if he can't be here and he sent in a request, then we can just skip over it. We'll put it on the next public hearing agenda, whenever that is. And then the last request is ARPA 29, the ARPA Commission public hearing expenses, which is an actual request from this commission to cover the costs of having these public hearings, which entails putting ads in the paper, basically, a week ahead of time. And each one costs about $300 to $400. And so this is our second one. We're thinking we're gonna have at least a couple more. And the idea was to put aside $2,000 of the ARPA funds to cover these operating expenses. So, does anybody have any questions about that? Anything to ask about it? From the commission, how about from the public? Anyone have anything that they want to say about it? All right, going once, going twice. Okay, well, we have made it through all of the items, and I'll just give everybody one more chance to, from the public, to say anything about any of these projects, before we move on to where we might actually vote on some of these things. And so this is a chance for people to weigh in. Do you have anything to say? No? Okay, all right. then. Yeah, everyone's very quiet. Okay, so moving on to item 4, which is correspondence, which I don't believe I received anything from anyone in the public, either for or against any of these items, or expressing concern or expressing support for any of these. So this is where I would share those if we had any, but I did not receive any. So I think we can move on to item number 5, which is our where we discuss our funding request submissions and have possible action. And before we get started, I guess I'd ask Donna, can you remind us how to word the motions? Because I forgot to write that down. I think it's Fund 19 is what we have to include in our motions if we are going to make a motion to approve any of these. So I think that's how we did it last time. Yes. You appropriate from Fund 19. Okay. So at this point, if anyone would like to make a motion regarding ARPA 13, and your options are to move to approve it, move to table it, or I think move to remove it, are 3 options. So anyone on the commission?
Sure, I'll start.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve using Fund 19, ARPA 13, the devices for town staff and senior center for the amount of.
$38,460.30.
So sorry.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion about this item?
Yes, I do. So when when I put this project forward, we used information that we received and quotes from either our IT and then for hardware. Since then, as you know, many things have increased in cost. One quote was from October, one was from January. Would there be consideration for additional funds in the event that we have? So there were no contingency dollars into this amount. We went with the straight cost of labor or hardware for all of these items. But I have concerns now that that things may run a little bit more. And since then, we have added the senior center coordinator position, which currently doesn't have any hardware at all. So we're looking at approximately $1,500 for the computer setup for that. And so if we added that, and then a potential 15% contingency is what I've calculated for. Calculate, talk. So 40, I think using a nice, an even number like 46,000 would give us additional, again, there's 15% contingency. The hope is that some of these computer costs remain the same. But I just, seeing how much we've had to pay on most individual items, it concerned me that we wouldn't have enough, so we'd have to scale back what we got and then potentially come back to ARPA again. So if the commission would entertain an adjustment to the dollar amount or to $46,000.
Can we modify the dollar amount? Do we have to withdraw the motion, or do we have to vote no on the motion and do it again?
Sorry to let this person in.
Thank
You
you.
could allow it like a friendly amendment to your motion. You would
Friendly
allow
amendment.
a friendly
Be good.
amendment to a dollar amount of $46,000.
We could amend that motion for a total amount of $46,000.
Your second.
I'll second
Did you second it the first two?
Okay, is there any more discussion, any questions about it? Are we ready to vote? All right, all in favor of,
Aye.
please indicate by saying aye.
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 I,
Are there any abstentions?
You and Don.
Oh, yes, I'm aye. Any no's? Okay, so motion passes. So ARPA 13 is funded for $46,000.
Thank you. I'm gonna do my best to stay well under budget.
Okay. Okay, ARPA 21, anyone feel moved to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the funding of ARPA 21, the school bank and heating assistance for the amount of $25,000.
I'll second.
okay, any discussion about this one? All right, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone abstain?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, and anyone say no? Okay, so motion passes. So that's great. So ARPA 21 is funded at $25,000. Right, ARPA 23. Anyone want to make a motion? This is summer camp.
Sure, I'll entertain a motion to, what's a motion to fund ARPA 23, the summer camp supplement using Fund 19. Amount of the 36,000 exactly.
Yep.
238.
Oh.
36.
Right.
I want to get that super great.
Reasons.
I just had 36. I don't know why. But we could, her sheet says 36,238. 38.
Sure, $36,238.
Anyone second?
I'll second.
All right, Robin. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Any abstentions?
I'm gonna abstain on this one too.
Okay, and any no's? Motion passes. So summer camp is funded in the amount of $36,238.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. ARPA 26. Anyone want to make a motion?
Stuart's on her own.
Looking at you, Stu.
I got a big.
I'll make,
Oh, Robin's ready.
oh, sorry. I'll make the motion to approve ARPA 26, the forestry plan for Mason Road track for the Conservation Commission in the amount of $2,800 using Fund 19.
Troy seconded. All right, any more discussion about that one? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstain? Anyone say no? Okay, so that one passes. It's funded at $2,800, ARPA 26. All right, ARPA 27, the building materials for the park structures. Who wants to make the motion?
Contractor, no, that's okay.
I'll make a motion to fund $3,500 for building materials for park structure maintenance from Fund 19.
Second from Troy. All right. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstain?
Aye.
You're abstaining?
No, are you saying aye, Robin, or
You're
abstaining?
saying aye?
No, I'm saying aye.
Okay. All right, no abstentions then, and anyone saying no?
What was the total amount for that?
3,500. And then, okay, so moving on to ARPA 29, the ARPA Commission public hearing expenses.
I'll move to approve ARPA 29, ARPA Commission public hearing expenses in the amount of $2,000 using Fund 19.
Is there a second?
Second,
Steve? All right, any discussion on this one? Okay, so all in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any noes? Okay, so motion passes. Okay, so we don't have any others to vote on tonight. That's all of them. The table, the senior center.
Can I ask you a question about these?
Mhm.
What we didn't do this time that we did last time for some of them was specifically say where the funding would come from, because we haven't received the second tranche of funding.
Oh,
But there is some funding still available in this fiscal year.
Yes. I have that right in front of me, actually.
I just don't know how
There's
much.
17,227 left. in this fiscal.
So maybe we could use it for those last three, the
The little ones.
2020, 3,500 and 2,800.
Yep, we definitely can. Okay.
You said 17? My spreadsheet must be over.
Yeah, because we started with 887,727,
Mhm.
and then there was 850, 500 appropriated out of that. Which, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I got. But there's also some money that was returned from those closed projects. There's 5,000 there.
Okay.
So that, in addition to the 17, is more like 22,000. That's in
So
there?
not really enough for any of the three larger ones
No.
to start, so we could at least say that the two Conservation Commission and the one for our fees,
Yeah,
we could begin using
yeah,
any.
yeah.
anytime.
And what that means for the Conservation Commission is that this money's available now. The other items, the money's not available until
On or about,
on or about July 1st.
I haven't seen anything new using.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. The only thing is with the summer camp, do they need the funds in this fiscal year?
Jenny?
Jenny,
Well,
do you need-
camp doesn't start until July.
But you, so will you need some funds, there may be some funds for them to draw on for supplies now. There won't be any labor expenses, but I suppose if they needed supplies going in,
Mhm.
there's still enough.
Right, but this year for the supplies, we had $2,000, and that's a maximum.
So I think that would be able to cover. And
Yeah,
then all the other expenses will come after July 1.
yeah.
Right.
We could even have, it's 5,000 of that 36, 38, come from this fiscal year and the rest of it next fiscal year. Because
Let's look at it there. And most of your expenses are labor costs. And so
That's
those will
correct.
kick in until July. What's the first day of camp, Jenny?
Not the 5th, it's the week after, that's the 12th.
So we think at the most they need currently of their expenses, of their budget expected is $2,000 in expenditures. I know you all had already used some out of your current budgets for camp, and then I know Alan had lots of things donated,
Yes, that's correct.
anonymous source.
Oh. Well, I think we could have
So 2,000.
2,000 from this fiscal and then the remainder from the other. And we still have $6,000 plus the 5,000 that was returned.
Okay.
So, but you can't really partially do this project here.
No, but we could potentially start, the project here is made up of 3 very different components. And so the least expensive of those is the network closet refresh.
Mhm.
So, maybe if that was anticipated to be just under $2,000.
Mhm.
So maybe we would have enough ARPA funds
Mhm.
to be able to start that piece of it.
Yeah, over 7,000, so,
Okay,
um,
I'll get updated, definitive costs
yeah,
and then be able to
Okay.
go from there. All right, thank you.
all right.
I apologize, we weren't all done when it entered my
Yeah, no, I
now COVID fog brain.
Okay, present to speak is the next item. Anybody present to speak? Lots of chances to speak.
Just a couple of questions.
Mhm.
So I know there's some more things have been submitted. I know one was submitted by the Lincoln Veterans Memorial Foundation.
Yep.
And so you're going to still consider more things down the line?
Oh, yeah.
Another hearing? Okay.
Yes, yeah, so just to recap what our process is, the projects get submitted formally, and then the Arbor Commission accepts the submission, and then it's on our agenda to discuss, and sometimes we've been discussing them for a couple of different meetings until we feel like it's ready to come to public hearing, where we actually have prices and we actually have a plan, and when we're at that point, we get to hear. But we still have, after today, I think there's still 442,000 left. But there are at least that much that have been submitted or talked about being submitted. So it's gonna start getting, down to the wire. But yeah, and I know that was submitted, but I don't know that it has a number. Oh, I'm gonna look that one up because, did you see that one? But I know I heard about it.
Well, submitted. I know I got a copy of it. I don't have it with me.
Oh, maybe, did you submit it to the EDC group?
Ed submitted
To the
Yeah.
EDC group,
Probably because
that
you're a
too.
nonprofit, right?
it. Right.
Yeah.
so it would go there.
So,
not
yeah,
here.
so that's slightly different process
Okay.
because basically we went through this process and the Economic Development Commission got $300,000 to disperse to businesses and nonprofits and other groups in town. So they are going through their own process of how to divide up that 300,000. So I think you're in their queue for that. And yeah, So I haven't had an update on where they're at with that, other than they've been receiving applications, so, which is exciting. A lot of things happening. All right, anyone else present to speak? No? All right, I think we might be ready to go. This is a record meeting for us.
Someone on the phone, muted.
Oh, is someone unmuted?
You're on the,
Hello?
Hi, Peter Wilczynchich, 97 Trask Road.
Peter?
I just wanted to ask, once the commission has its final list of disbursements of these ARPA funds, will it be submitting it to the Board of Finance for approval?
No. The way the process has been determined to be is that it does not go to the Board of Finance. This commission, through the ordinance that was passed, has the authority to appropriate these funds.
If I might ask a follow-up question, why would you not do that anyway? Just to involve our town finance board, just to make sure there are no conflicts of interest and that everything is above board for total transparency.
so can I
Yeah.
take a shot? There is a representative of the Board of Finance on this board. Christina, our chair of this board, is a member of the Board of Finance and does regularly update the Board of Finance as to our expenditures and where we are in the process. So they are absolutely aware of the process. Everything we've done is transparent and been in public. These meetings are recorded and are online for anyone to see. We publish minutes like any other board or commission. But as far as authority, the authority is on this commission. But the Board of Finance is well informed of our process. And certainly any of those members, like any other resident in Willington, is welcome at any of our meetings to speak or submit communications to this commission.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. I think that's it then. I think I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
7%. First, through second. All right, this was a record meeting for us. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right, any abstentions? No. All right, so we're adjourned. Our next meeting is on June 6th at 1:30. And that's where we're going to be talking about some of the items that have already been tabled and some of the, at least one new request that has come in that I'm aware of. So we will see you all then.